Howdy y'all, Joe Hills here, recording as I was due in Nashville, Tennessee, and today we're gonna jump right in to this area. Like, we're just gonna, like, feet first hop in like some sort of frog onto a lily pad, except the lily pad is the darkness. Well, or maybe the pond is the darkness and the trees are the lily pad. We have so much to light up through here. This area is incredibly perilous, dangerous. Bow and arrows? No. No way. Not me. Not today. I'm just coming here. Because, like, if I came here with a bow and arrow, I'd be wasting resources. But if I use my sword, I'm gaining them. So I'm just going to run through here, light all this up. We need to really... Wow, these are some weird lighting glitches. We need to feed the cattle. We need to knock down the trees. We need to light the darkness. What is up with these lighting glitches? This is exceptionally strange compared to how this normally would light. Should probably light the higher up parts first, so I don't have mobs jumping down on me as I try to do the, rest of it. But I don't know how much it's going to help if I don't keep moving. Because like a shark that has to just keep swimming, I need to just keep torching. Like, I need to flame on like the guy from the Fantastic Four that doesn't stretch too much. I don't know why they make that hissing noise so late in the game. When they're, Oh, yeah, now all the zombies are coming. All the zombies are on their way. That's what happens when you punch a single zombie. About a bajillion more spawn. Oh, these lighting glitches are driving me crazy. It might be because I turned off the shaders and turned them back on again. But what I really wanted to talk about today was leadership and kind of paying attention to what people want. Because, wow, I don't know if you guys follow the news, but Chris Christie just made a major political misstep. You see, the state of New Jersey, of which he is the governor, recently had, or currently has, a government shutdown because they did not pass a budget successfully. Now, what that means is that all non-essential government services are being turned off, basically, until they get a budget. And this might sound like, okay, well, they're non-essential, so how bad or important could they be? Well, some of them are pretty important, like the entire state park system of New Jersey, which encompasses, like, not only a ton of wonderful parks, but also their beautiful beaches. I know a lot of people get, like, New Jersey gets a bad rap, but you know what? It is not as bad as you might think, except for the fact that all the beaches are closed for 4th of July weekend because the state didn't pass a budget. Now, technically, it's up to the state legislature to, like, send the governor a budget to pass, which they have not done. And so it's easy for Christie to stay, in the governor's mansion or whatever, just be like, oh, look at these jerks. They won't pass a budget. How am I going to sign a budget that they don't pass? I'm the good guy, they're the bad guys, whatever. Now, the thing is, governor's mansion is, state-provided house where technically it's an essential service for the governor to continue to have a house. That's fine, But, whoa, that's a creeper next to a spider, next to a skeleton. So, we are just going to kind of try and get the creeper between us and the skeleton. That's just, there we go. Come on. Directly between us. Dang it. All the zombies. Not desirable. But anyway, so Chris Christie is just, if he just stayed in the governor's mansion and said, guys, you need to pass a budget. This is unreasonable. All of these people's 4th of July plans are being ruined because all the parks are closed. Nobody can go to the beach. It's miserable. Obviously, the budget is really important and we need to do it right. But look at how many people this is, like, just wrecking the weekend for. 4th of July weekend is huge in America. That is our biggest, like, beach holiday that there is. And for all the beaches in a state to be closed is really kind of undesirable for everyone who lives in that state. Or even nearby that state. When I lived in Pennsylvania for a few years, my parents would take us to New Jersey to go to the beach, or to Delaware. Now, so all of a sudden, not only does New Jersey not have their beaches open, but they're losing all the tax revenue that they get from people going to the beach. Those people are now going to go to either New York or to Delaware. It's a bad deal all around. But anyway, there's this thing in the, hold on. Trying not to get killed by monsters while I talk, which is always slightly more difficult than talking. Whoa, 2 creepers. But hopefully slightly more amusing than just me talking. Okay, skeleton, you need to shoot this guy behind me here. Anyway, so Chris Christie could be setting himself up to be the good guy. Instead, you know where he and his family went? They went to this beach that is technically closed because the governor has a summer house there. And the governor's summer house is not considered part of the park service that's shut down. So there's like a 10-mile long beach that has one family on it, which is the governor's, in the middle of this terrible government shutdown. And we're going to flee now. Good time for fleeing. These baby zombies are very fast. No, I'm going to hit the cow. Dang it. These guys are too hard to hit. Okay. Anyway, I don't think the creeper sees me, so we're in the clear there. So anyway, the governor has a summer house along one of the beaches that's closed, and him and his family are just the only people out there on the beach. So the Trenton Star-Ledger, which is a newspaper from the state capital of New Jersey, has this amazing picture that they took from a plane of his family hanging out on this empty beach that should be completely full, that everybody in the state wants to go to, and they can't. And it's the most miserable thing, because even though he claims, like, well, I still have access because my summer house is there, there is a precept that goes way back that, like, if a general is asking his troops to, like, go to half rations, then he should not be feasting, you know? In the Hebrew Bible, they recommend that if the king demands a fast from his people to curry favor with the Lord, that the king himself join them in the streets wearing sackcloth and starving, you know? That sort of thing. Like, he is not supposed to just go out there and enjoy the beach while no one else can. And yet he does. Like, this is just terrible leadership. And it's inexcusable. The only thing I can think of is that nobody ever told him better. And I don't know how that's possible. So, in ROTC, which is the American Reserve Officer Training Corps, you have to take a whole bunch of classes on leadership. And classes on leadership do not make you a good leader. You need to practice like anything. It's like a musical instrument, you know. So I'm not saying like, oh, I know everything about leadership because I've never actually got the opportunity to serve. But, you know, the book learning part of the course tells you not to do this. It's like if, you know, I'm not saying that I could take a few classes and call myself an expert guitarist. But, you know, if I took a class on learning to play the guitar, and they mentioned not submerging the electric guitar in water, you know, during your performance, I might remember not to do that even though I couldn't necessarily play. So once again, making no claims that I'm some amazing leader, but I know enough about leadership to know that when you ask your people to make some sort of sacrifice like this, like, hey, for budgetary reasons, we absolutely have to close the parks. It's not fair, you know, the state legislature screwed up, I don't know why they're, you know, dragging their feet. When really, I mean, there's actually two sides to that. But I'm just kind of assuming, for the sake of argument here, if Christie actually intended to succeed at what he's doing, he should not just go gloat at, like, look at what I've got that nobody else does. And he even made fun of the reporters who took the picture by saying, oh wow, this is groundbreaking journalism, taking a picture of me exactly where I said I would be with my family for the 4th of July weekend. It's like, dude, your family should have their vacation ruined too. I'm sorry, I know your kids didn't do anything, but neither did all of the other children who can't go to the beach this weekend. And, like, so, you know, this is just one of those things where this is one of the simplest, like, most fundamental things that someone can do when they're in a leadership situation. You know, if a boss says, hey guys, you know, we all got to power through this weekend and pull some extra hours, the boss can't just be like, hey, I'm, you know, off to, I'm going to go see the new Wicked movie. Is there a new Wicked movie? No, that's probably not. I'm going to go watch, Guardians of Doctor Strange 4 at the local Cineplex while you guys do the extra hours. You know, the boss should be there on hand in case any additional resources are needed or something. Like, if you're asking your people to do exceptional things above and beyond what they are normally expected to do, then you can't just go goof off, you know? Even if he wasn't at the beach, like, if he's just like, hey, we're trying to resolve this political crisis, you know, through by whatever means is necessary, you know, he made fun of the leader of the state legislature for standing on the dais on his smartphone. It's like all he's doing is goofing off on his smartphone. It's like, no, he's using his BlackBerry to you know, get legislators on board. He's doing his job. He is standing in the middle of the action, so if anyone needs him, they can yell at him because they can physically see him in the center of the room. And what is he doing? He is reaching out to the people who are not in the room on his phone. That is working. Like, that is... And even if the guy is not necessarily doing something that I agree with or disagree with, because once again, I'm not here to weigh in on the complexities of this budget, which there are a lot. It has to do with insurance and a bunch of other cuts. So, like, I cannot express. If you want to go read something, like, and just be like, what? Go seriously check out how Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey's Horizon system is set up and the problems that people have with it. Like, there's a lot going on there on both sides. So once again, I have not done enough research to weigh in on this. This is a very complex topic. But, you know, so the guy who's standing in the middle of the state legislature on his phone is doing his job, being mocked by the governor for not doing his job. The governor goes and goofs off on the beach with his family, which, you know what? Okay. If you want to go spend time quietly with your family, that's fine. But, once again, if you're going to go to the beach when the beach is closed, and then make fun of the reporters who point out your hypocrisy, you do not understand certain fundamentals of leadership. Like, Chris Christie wanted to be president, and I don't think he ever can be now. I mean, maybe he never could be before, but to anyone, and who knows, maybe it is still possible, because look at the leadership we have now, but this is just shocking to me that someone who can aspire to leadership who doesn't understand what he owes the people of his state. If he truly believes that he's right and the legislature is wrong and that they need to get their stuff together, he needs to be setting an example. He needs to be saying, you know, I'm going to do everything I can to get this resolved, and I'm going to, in the very least, not flaunt my access to the beach because of my second state residence. It's like, okay, you know, it's great that the state gives you a beach house. That's awesome. That's a good perk for being governor. But not this weekend. Don't go there this weekend. That is, it's political suicide. And I just hope anybody watching this, you know, maybe none of you guys are ever going to run a state if you're watching this. That's fine. Very few people do become governors. I don't expect, you know, I'm sure some of you guys are going to do great things, but, you know, realistically, you know, even all of the lessons that were taught in my Marine Corps, well, it was technically a naval officer leadership class, but, like, all the lessons that were taught in that class were helpful when I was working at the styrofoam factory the next summer, and I was in charge of a third of the night shift. You know, I was 18, and I was in charge of people that were either also 18 or as old as, like, 60, you know, and treating everybody with respect, listening to them, understanding what you are asking of them. Like, these are things that are going to be helpful in any situation. If you work at the cafeteria, which, you know, in college, which I also did, you know, listening to the people who work for me, you know, people are like, high school is very kind of weird in terms of, like, the age difference between an 18-year-old and a 13-year-old is pretty big, you know. But, like, when you get to college, that same kind of attitude of, like, oh, we're the freshmen or we're the seniors and they're the freshmen can still kind of persist. And you got to get away from that. You cannot treat people like less. And so, you know, if let's say that you go to college and by your sophomore year, you're in charge of a few people at the cafeteria the year under you, you treat them with respect too. No hazing, no making fun of them. Just get things done in as efficient a way as possible. And, like, it is just better to do your job and to not be a jerk. Like, don't be like, oh, hey, as a sophomore, I'm making more money than you guys. You know, hey, we all have to work late, but at least I'm getting paid more. Don't do that. Treat people with respect. Anyway, it's just shocking to me that he is flaunting this benefit of, like, it's not good. And I really hope to encourage everybody to think about, you know, how the people that work with and for them are treated. You know, you need to be careful yourself, and you need to watch how the managers that you might someday manage treat their subordinates. Because leadership and management, these are not easy things. And once again, you can't learn them from a book. But having somebody looking out for you and teaching you things along the way is crucial. So, you know, if you see one of your managers doing this stuff someday, I hope that you nudge them in the right direction. Unfortunately, the governor doesn't really have a boss who could tell him, hey man, get off the beach. That's a dumb move. He has ascended to the point where there is no one to save him from himself. And that means that everybody who had the opportunity to teach him this earlier has failed. Maybe they failed because he willingly is a terrible student, and maybe they failed because they never told him no. But this is just a terrible example to set for just anyone. And the fact that this man is in such a high office to be governor of any state is such a huge deal. It's just shocking. Anyway, well, I think we got this pretty well lit up, and we've got some of these trees cleared out. I've actually got to run. I've got a lot of preparations to make for PlayOnCon, including but not limited to a haircut that I'm going to be late for if I do not end this episode immediately. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope that you practice some of these things I've talked about, because, like I said, book learning and hearing about things from people isn't enough when it comes to being a better leader. You gotta get out there and you gotta do the work. If you're given the opportunity to lead a small group in a club or something like that, everything you do is practice for another leadership role, a bigger leadership role you have later. So, hope you treat everybody with respect and that you don't waste your own time by being a jerk. Because who knows, you know, maybe you'll be governor someday and you'll need all the practice you could have gotten. So, until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.